Well, good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson Tonight. President Trump's speech in Poland last week may have been the single best thing he has said out loud since entering politics, and for one reason. It was a rousing defense of Western civilization. Now, you wouldn't think speeches doing that would be unusual. The only reason you hire leaders in the first place is to defend your civilization, especially ours, which is the foundation of pretty much everything we have: our history, our language, our art, science, law, our entire culture. America itself is the product of Western civilization. So you'd think the people running the West would want to defend all of that, but no, it was left to Donald Trump to do it.
We write symphonies. We pursue innovation. We celebrate our ancient heroes, embrace our timeless traditions and customs, and always seek to explore and discover brand new frontiers. The fundamental question of our time is whether the West has the will to survive. Do we have the confidence in our values to defend them at any cost?
Now, admittedly, President Trump is a polarizing figure, but the words you just heard him speak shouldn't be controversial. The West is indisputably the freest, the cleanest, the fairest civilization in history. That's why so many immigrants want to move here. It's definitely under attack. That's what ISIS and the Berkeley riots are about. And of course, it will fall if we don't guard it. Everything undefended eventually does. Even Trump haters ought to be able to admit all of that because it's true, but they can't admit it. Instead, they're calling the speech bigoted, the line about symphonies especially bigoted.
He threw in there, "We write symphonies." And that's what that triggered the alarm bells for me. Am I wrong in making this parallel between Steve King, President Trump, and white nationalism?
Trump seemed to embody and enshrine that belief that the West should steel itself for a clash of civilizations with other cultures, other beliefs, which pretty much spelled out, the Muslim world.
This is not a speech he could have given really any place else, and this is a white America first kind of speech.
So extolling the virtues of symphonies is now racist. Slate.com called it, quote, white nationalist rhetoric. According to The Atlantic, it is racial and religious paranoia. Okay, let's pause for a second, tone it down, and consider the argument the president's critics are making here. Trump actually didn't say a word about race, not one. He talked instead about art, innovation, science, free speech, democracy. Those are not racial categories. They are statements about belief, the beliefs that in fact created this country and have sustained it for centuries since. The question is, has the left actually rejected those beliefs, those values? Can we no longer agree that free speech, for example, is better than censorship, that representative government is superior to dictatorship, that our civil code is preferable to Sharia law? And if we can't agree on those things, what are we all doing in the same country? How can we keep living together? What is the point of all of this? Well, there was a time when the American left grappled with questions like those. Those are the real questions, by the way. That was a time before the progressive movement became governed by a reactionary, almost Oedipal impulse to destroy the institutions that made it possible, purely for the joy of destroying them, for tearing it all down. The left used to have ideas. They believed in culture. Now they think symphonies are a sign of white privilege. What happened? And can the purges be far behind? Maybe Brad Woodhouse will know. He works at American